your podcast a couple of days ago, you kind of offhand reference about how you relate to the younger players. They're almost a generation younger than you. And I heard Michael Lombardi recently on his podcast say, when you're with the Patriots, you actually spoke with a consultant to try to learn some techniques to how to relate to the guys who are 15, 20 years younger than you. And what are some of the things you learned that you still practice today?
It's a great question. It's a great question. You know, a lot of the guys are kind of closer to my son's age than my age. So it actually probably helps me with my sons. You know, just communicating with them because, you know, it's a lot of young players. But I think the key is genuinely just caring, and I think having wanting to see those guys kind of fulfill their potential. So I think that's part of being a veteran player is, you know, seeing other guys. I've been very fortunate over the years to have people come into my life that brought the best out of me. So that's all I'm trying to do for a lot of these guys too, is just put them in a position in the best way that I know how to see them succeed. So, yeah, there's no other way to care than just to care about people and care about what we're doing. And it's certainly a priority, you know, trying to be the best I could be for this team. And I think doing my jobs well is really important. But then, you know, having the experience to do other things and share with others, the receivers, the running backs, the tight ends, you know, the O-line, you know, some things here and there that can really help them so that maybe they could take it and have a very successful career themselves.
Tom, having this like break sort of to reset, what are some things that maybe you look at as this offense? Obviously, you guys score a lot of points, but what do you look at and say, hey, we'd like to do this a little better going forward? Is there anything you've narrowed down of like this is an area?
Everything. I don't think we've reached our potential at all. So I think we've got to continue to stress the importance of you know, the details every day of what we're trying to do, and we don't have anything that I feel that, you know, I'm out there and go, man, we really got this nailed. I mean, there's a lot of things we need to do better. And, you know, in the pass game, throwing and catching, you know, all of us being on the same page with what we're doing against, you know, a bunch of different looks. You know, now we're kind of getting into a part of the year where teams are starting to show kind of what they are, you know. There's a good sample size of information about, like, how they're going to play defense and who's going to be out there and who they like and who's struggling and so forth. It's really hard early in the year, I think, the first couple games of, you know, who's going to be playing for them and what are they going to do, or things going to be different than last year. So at least now you can start to kind of hone in on what the opponents are doing. I mean, they're not going to change too much from week to week, but I certainly feel like, you know, we have certainly a long ways to go.
Tom, what do you remember about last year's game against the Bears, and how often do you still see that meme of the four constantly popping up on your timeline there?
Yeah, that's seems like a long time ago, but actually it wasn't that long ago. So, yeah, that hasn't happened very often in my career. For some reason, that happened at that moment. But yeah, that was a tough loss, and I think we learned a lot from that loss. That last year, there was a lot of self-inflicted issues. There was a lot of penalties. There was a lot of miscommunications. There was a lot of things that weren't clean. And then ultimately, we have a chance to win the game in 2 minutes by going down and kicking a field goal, and we don't get the job done. So penalties, not coming through in critical situations. I think something that we've come through in critical situations. We've cut down on the penalties, but you know, you got to stress that and continue to stress that all the time. It's not like that's ever a finished subject either. You know, you got to work at it every day, and that's why, you know, you got to sharpen your skills. You take nothing for granted. You come out here every day with the mindset you're going to work to improve and get better and gain the trust of your teammates and coaches. And, you know, you can't, you know, take the foot off the gas at all. You just got to put in every day. You got to prove to everybody what you want to become.
I know you'll always do your best work from the pocket, right? And you joked about turning 30-yard runs into 10-yard runs.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, you've made some plays, and we see you out here, but you've gotten outside and made plays throwing the ball as well. So how much has that, do you feel better, or is it just something, you know, you obviously want to stay where you're most comfortable, but
Yeah.
that's added a little bit to your game.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's something that I want to even improve as we kind of move through the season, you know. It's like we're trying to stay extra and do a lot of footwork stuff, and, you know, we don't run that much, so I think it's really important to keep your legs in shape and keep your bend and, you never know when that one or two plays ultimately you're going to have to be out of the pocket and make a scramble play, and I think you just have to be ready. And some of that's not probably the most natural thing for me, as we know, but at the same time, I think it's, we made a play out of the pocket on third down the other night. That was a big game, big part of the game. So that was going to need to make those plays. You see a lot of young players scramble and make plays, and the problem out there is it's definitely more susceptible to getting hurt. There's no doubt about that. It's when you get outside the pocket, at least for me, things move pretty fast, and you're less protected. And if you got the ball in your hand, they're trying to get you.
Antonio Brown might not be playing this game. Just asking a question. You talked about your trust in Tyler Johnson. But what have you seen out of him this week? His progression overall, and your confidence in him if he's got to be the guy that's got to step up.
Yeah, I think whenever guys aren't out there, other guys have to step up and perform and do the job. So it also gives them an opportunity to kind of show what they've been. Maybe they haven't had as much opportunity, but then they get out there and you're like, wow, he did a great job. He was prepared. That's what real professionals do. I mean, there was a time where I wasn't playing at all either. My first year, I got a chance my second year in the second game of the year when Drew got hurt. So, yeah, how about that? So, I mean, you never know when you're going to get your chance. When you get it, you got to take advantage of it. So sometimes you don't get your chance because other guys ahead of you are just doing a great job. The worst thing to do is to get your chance and then screw it up. And then everybody goes, he ruined his opportunity. And, that happens too much. I mean, you got to try to keep the urgency that when guys get the opportunity to play, that they go out and they do something well.
And do you think Johnson, he's ready for that opportunity with the progression he's had?
Tyler's done a good job. I mean, everyone has a lot of confidence in Tyler. He does a good job out here whenever he gets his chance, and he's been made a bunch of plays in the game. It's certainly not too big for him. I mean, I think he's got a good attitude, good work ethic. We just got to keep all trying to get better together.
I talked about you guys meeting on Fridays to go for run plays, and I know some of the linemen did too. Is that something that you've done a lot over your career? Is that something different, like getting with those guys and going over that? I'm not sure like how standard that would be.
Yeah, I think we're going to do anything we can to get better. I think that's the point is we got to identify areas that we think need improvement, and then we got to put emphasis on it, and we got to do the things that we think need to be done in order for us to all improve and be on the same page. So I don't think that's finished. I don't think that's a finished thing. I think, and it's not a set in stone thing. It's an evolutionary thing. So you got to continue to have awareness of the things that aren't up to our standard, and then try to make them better.
Tom, when you watch film on Khalil Mack, what are some of the things that he does that he's so elite that you've noticed?
Yeah, I mean, everything. He's one of the dominant players in the game. He's got speed, power, quickness. He's got a great motor, very tough. I think the impressive thing is the strip sacks and how he gets the ball off quarterbacks. I mean, it's one thing to sack the guy, it's another to knock the ball off the quarterback. But, you obviously can't hold the ball too long when those guys are rushing the passer. We've had a few guys we played this year that were dominant, like Aaron Donald, and even last week Fletcher Cox. But Khalil's second to none.
It seems impossible, but as a Michigan guy, this is the first time in your NFL career you'll face a starting quarterback from Ohio State. I'm sure that rivalry is always kind of in you a little bit.
Yeah, that's. I'm not going to say anything too inflammatory about Ohio State. If that's what you're getting to do, but I'll have my time. Usually Ohio State. This is Michigan State week, so I can those are the guys that I can kind of go after. That's interesting. Why is there not a lot of Ohio State quarterbacks in the pros? There's a lot of Michigan guys over the years, but not a lot of Ohio State guys.
Terrell Pryor threw a pass against you, but
Yeah.
wasn't the starter, so this was that.
All right, good. I'll be sure to say hi to him after the game.